What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On this segment, I am going to talk about the meanest fighters in mixed martial arts history. This is going to be my top 10. There have been a ton of mean, nasty, aggressive fighters in the history of mixed martial arts for sure, but these are the ones that stand out to me and come to mind in my book. No specific order, but probably the meanest, the most psychotic and aggressive, Wanderlei Silva. Wanderlei Silva was one of my favorite fighters for the longest time. Still one of my favorite fighters, just due to the fact that he was an absolute savage that appeared to enjoy inflicting damage and pain on his opponent. Many of you are very familiar with Wanderlei's career in Pride over in Japan. They allowed soccer kicks, head stomps, knees to the head of a down opponent. And believe you me, Wanderlei took advantage of all of those rules. He'll get an opponent in the corner on the ground, grab both sides of that ring, and stomp his opponent's head through the mat. I swear in some of those fights he had a grin on his face. Of course, pre-fight, the legendary wrist roll. Wanderlei just had like a psychotic look in his eye. Loved it, loved it. I definitely gravitate towards aggressive, mean fighters, 100%. Moving on to the more modern era, Peorian. Peorian has the perfect nickname, No Mercy. When he competes, you can just tell he has no regard for his opponent. He just tries to destroy them and get them out of there. One of the reasons why I love Peorian, true competitor, no nonsense, no mercy. This might be an interesting pick to some, but I felt like she was pretty hardcore and just didn't care. Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was known to snap limbs. I truly believe that Ronda Rousey, when she competed, was in kill mode. No regard for her opponent, just a win. This is a given. I know many of you will agree with this pick, Matt the Immortal Brown. Who doesn't love Matt the Immortal Brown? That dude is a true maniac in that cage, an animal. And he's still an animal to this day, competing for so long in the UFC. He's like 40, 41, has not slowed down at all. At least as far as like the bloodthirst, the battle, the war, he relishes all of that. Matt Brown is the man. That is one nasty dude in a cage. Here's somebody else who I think definitely has kind of like a dead inside look. Jorge Masvidal. I think Masvidal is vicious. We all saw what he did to Ben Askren. Just brutal, devastating knockout. Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren into the Shadow Realm, then proceeds to mock him. Savage, man, savage. But yeah, Jorge to me is bloodthirsty as well. The guy loves fighting. It's just in him. He's a dog. Something's definitely off with Jorge Masvidal in a great way. Let's go really old school. Tank Abbott. A lot of the newer fans have no idea who Tank Abbott is. Tank Abbott was like an old school Derrick Lewis. He had a little bit of a wrestling background. He did some boxing, but he pretty much is as close as you can get to a street fighter, a dude that just drinks at a bar, who stepped in at mixed martial arts cage, competed and smashed people. Now you have to be way more well-rounded in today's modern mixed martial arts. Tank Abbott wouldn't do well today, but back in the day, he had everything he needed to just smash and brutalize people. Definitely has to be one of the hardest natural punchers in the sport of all time. Tank was a scary dude. I remember one fight, Tank Abbott had this one opponent against the cage pinned, had his knee on his face, using the cage for leverage, gripping it, just crushing his knee into this guy's head. And he's smirking, smiling, and laughing at the camera. Tank Abbott, mixed martial arts, sociopath. No doubt. This may be an interesting pick for some, but I thought Brock Lesnar was a savage. I thought Brock Lesnar had no mercy for his opponents. He was just a big, scary, brute bully. And if he could beat the mess out of you and bully you around in that cage, he did. We saw what he did to Frank Mir. That was a nasty beatdown. And in some of those one-sided fights with Brock Lesnar, he did look like he enjoyed putting a whooping on people. Going more modern again, Platinum Mike Perry. That's a true fighter. That guy's bloodthirsty as well. Cut from like a similar cloth of like a Matt Brown, a Jorge Masvidal. Perry's an animal. Here's a pick that I do think a lot of people would agree with. Jon Jones. Jon Jones, I do not believe cares about you one bit if you are a competitor. He's just trying to kick your ass, dominate and embarrass you. And if you get hurt and jacked up, is what it is. Remember when he had Lyoto Machida against the cage and caught him in a standing guillotine? Machida goes unconscious. Jon Jones just lets him go without a care in the world, just turns his back on him, walks away. Machida falls to the floor like a sack of potatoes. That was mean. That was mean. And for my final pick on this top 10 list of no specific order, Melvin Manhoef. There have been comparisons between Melvin and Mike Tyson. I can see it. Not success-wise, but freakishness, explosiveness, knockout power. To me, Melvin Manhoef was kind of like a cross between a Wanderlei Silva and a kickboxing Mike Tyson. Another maniac. And it's funny, Melvin just came out in the news for, I believe, beating up like 3 burglars. They try to break into his house. Melvin chases them down in his car, runs them off the road, kicked their asses, kept them in place till the cops showed up. Dude's a psycho, love it. Anyway guys, let me know in the comment section who were your picks for some of the meanest, nastiest, most psychotic mixed martial arts fighters. I would love to read your picks. If you enjoyed this video, first time at the channel, hit that subscribe button, like and share, appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys on the next segment.